you and I both know, like once you close on a deal and someone tells you like, without you, I don't know how I would have done it.
It-
You would damn near shed a tear because you're like, wow. Hello, everyone. Dondre Homer here. Welcome to the DHomerRealEstate Real Estate podcast, where the focus is to make real estate, personal finance, and self-development digestible, fun, and relatable to everyone. I would truly appreciate it if you like, comment, subscribe, download, write a review, tell your family members, anyone that you believe that will actually take what is going to be given and apply it to their life. Today, we have a special guest. Now, although I haven't known you for a long time, I do believe that you give off that energy that when someone meets you, it's like, you know what, I like him. He's cool.
Yeah, you know what? I've been told that quite a bit where I do attract people, and it's funny when my wife and I, anytime we go somewhere,
Mhm.
be it a restaurant or a little store, we could walk in and it's completely empty.
Mhm.
And for some reason, anytime we walk into any location, all of a sudden it gets busy.
Yep.
We could walk into a restaurant thinking, oh yeah, it's empty. We can have a nice romantic dinner.
Out of nowhere.
The place gets packed up. And my wife has always said that to me, that anywhere you go, you're always attracting people. So
No, for sure. And again, that's the energy that you have given off to me. You are a licensed realtor, and a part of the elite realty group. So the people or the viewers are going to see the hoodies that we are rocking. And the individual I'm talking about is Amit Dhir. How you doing?
awesome. Great to be here.
I'm thankful that you're actually here, especially, the weather is out of control. So I appreciate you so much. So before we get started, I always start with icebreaker questions where we just get to know you a little bit more. It's only a few questions, so you don't have to worry about too much, but I'm looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
So this is where the test begins.
Yes. So the first icebreaker question is, what is one important skill that you think everyone should have?
I think one important skill that everyone should have is being organized. And I
Mm.
think in this business, it's really taught me that being organized, is everything.
Mm.
And I think when I'm talking to clients, when I'm talking to potential clients out there, you can always tell the ones that are organized and the ones that aren't.
Mm.
And so it's going into a house, and do we need to declutter? Do we need to, or is it something that they've always kept their house organized?
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm going to go with organized. I think that's something that I feel is a very important trait to have.
Absolutely. And I can agree to that. Honestly, because again, I've noticed like since I've gotten to the industry, because I'll be honest, before I wasn't the most organized individual, but now being in this industry and being an entrepreneur, and you have to juggle family life. You have to like if you are not, you're going to be doing a lot of nothing.
Definitely,
So that
definitely.
definitely stands out.
Yep. I mean, even outside of real estate, I think being organized, it's huge. And
Mhm.
like you said, being an entrepreneur, that family life, juggling back and forth, and a lot of people say, well, how do you do it? How is it? It's that organization, and it's once you're organized, once you have your priorities in place, and I think it makes things not easy, but it makes things easier.
Yes, I totally agree. I totally agree. Okay, well, for sure. I like that. So now on to the second icebreaker question. What are three things you would like to accomplish this year?
Three things. I love dealing with the public. I love dealing with, again, I've been in customer service my whole life. I want to reach out to as many clients as I can out there,
Mhm.
help them find their dream home. A lot of folks that I was talking to were saying that customer service aspect is missing from real estate.
Mhm.
And so that's what I really want to bring, and help out as many people as I can this year with that great customer service. And it is a stressful situation, buying a house, selling a house,
Absolutely.
getting moved, getting packed. So I think when they have a trustworthy realtor there with them,
Mhm.
that they know that they can call and get advice from, it really goes a long way. And that's what I'd really like to see, is how many people out there can I touch and really change their lives.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And the last The last icebreaker question, I would love to hear this hear this answer from you. Is what would you do if you knew you could not fail? So whatever you put your mind to, you will achieve it no matter what. So like, what is that one thing that you would have done or would do, knowing that there's no failing?
That's a tough one. That is a tough one. Um, you know what? In my career, there's been times where I failed, and
Mhm.
you know what? Those failures, once you learn from them, it's what makes you a winner, right?
Mm-mm.
And you need to lose to be a winner.
I
And
hear that.
you know, it's there's nothing that I'm afraid of doing.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, anytime I have a project, I take it on heads on.
Okay.
And so if I fail, hey, you know what?
You
At
feel
least I tried. And
absolutely.
if, you know, and then if you succeed, it's funny, us as humans, we act different when we fail and when we succeed.
Oh, trust me. Tell me about it.
I mean, you know, when we succeed, it's, oh yeah, you know what?
I
I'm the
got it.
best. I got it.
Let's
Oh yeah.
go.
When you fail, you're reaching out
Want
and
to
you're like,
cry in the corner.
yeah, dear God, and please help me. And what have I done wrong? And it's funny, and we all go through it. And but I think if you don't try and if you
Mm,
don't fail, it makes life hard, right? Because then
mm.
you don't understand, um, you know. But if you succeed at everything, then it just
Don't do it. No. What is that one thing? What is that one thing? So I can be honest. I'll say this: if I knew I could not fail, I would be. It's either two things: a basketball player in the NBA or a music producer. So those are the two things. So if one thing could stand out, I would say music producer. I love music. Like I'm obsessed.
yeah.
So that's that one thing. Like if I knew by when I was 15 that if I put my mind to a thing, to being the next Timbaland, that was my favorite producer, then that's what I would be doing.
Well, when I was younger, you know, I played a lot of baseball and I wanted
Mm,
to be a baseball player. But then deep down inside, I always thought I wasn't as good as the other players.
mm,
And then um, from when I was younger, I wanted to get into policing. But family thought that, you know, that was a dangerous, they didn't, you know, I remember my parents at that time saying, "We can't sleep at home knowing you're out there with a gun and
yeah.
with everything that's going on." And things were different at that time, but um, I'm happy where I am. You know, the
Mm.
career path I chose, even though I didn't go that way. Um, you know, it's today. If I could do something today, it would be. I wish I was retired and traveling the world.
I love it. I love it. But again, thank you so much for answering the icebreaker questions. Again, just to lighten up the room. But I'd love to give you the opportunity to formally introduce yourself to the listeners and the watchers out there.
So, yeah, my name is Amit Dhir. I've been in this industry. I'm fairly new. I love being a part of the Elite Realty Group. I knew Roger from actually a few years ago when he sold one of our properties back in 2016, and I absolutely loved his style. And so when I got my license, I was like, yeah, you know what, I want to work for someone like Roger, and so that's why I approached him and I joined the group here, which I'm absolutely loving. For me, I've been in the food industry for the past 20, 25 years. And I made it was a successful career. I did everything in the food industry and working at head offices. But, you know, it came to a point where I wanted to work for myself. And when I looked at it, and as I said, I like customer service, I like dealing with people. So real estate really stood out. And so that's why last year I decided to start working on getting my license. And then once I got close to getting my license, I decided to do this full time. So I left the food industry and yeah, I'm enjoying doing this.
That's awesome. First of all, Roger, when you see this, just understand that that's free promo. Okay. No, but yeah, Roger is again the Elite Realty Group, part of the Townsend team. Again, you learn a lot. And I'll just say this: a lot of this things that I'm doing right now with the podcast and everything I'm doing would not be um, happening right now as we speak without his help. So, Roger Townsend, we appreciate you. So, um, today you mentioned that you are a newly licensed realtor, and that's what we're going to be touching on. Because you and are in the same boat. I'm newly licensed as well, and we want to talk about everything: the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? And you again, like I mentioned earlier, in the introduction, like you are someone that has been cool. You seem like a real down to earth individual, and I would just love for you to share a little bit about your background, where you come from, as well as like how's your childhood like.
Yeah, I was born and raised in Toronto. Grew up in the Keelan Lawrence area. Things were a lot different at that time, than it is now in that area. I went to George Anderson, Centennial, and then things happened with my parents, and my dad was a baker, and
Mm,
he ended up losing his job. So and my youngest brother was just born at that time. So my dad did everything he could to support the family. And so that's when we ended up moving to Georgetown.
okay.
And as I was telling you, at that time, Georgetown was very small.
Hmm.
No one knew about Georgetown at that time. The 401, I still remember at that time, actually, after the 410 was like 2 lanes each way, no lights.
Wow.
There was no, there was no, I don't think there was a Mavis Road exit. I don't think there was Highway 10 exit. And it was a lot different out there at that time. And, so I grew up in Georgetown, and then that's when my career really started, and
Mm,
helping my dad out with his business, and helping him succeed. And my dad did, he got into a few properties.
okay.
So really that's when I started looking into real estate as well, and I started getting interest in the real estate industry.
Hmm.
um and and I'd always wanted to get into it, but like I said, I was busy with things that I was already doing, and I finally decided now to work on it.
Okay, I love that. I love that. Again, I when I hear my parents talk about like what Brampton, Georgetown, all these places, sorry, were like before this boom.
Yep.
It sounds like a scary place.
Yeah. I mean, I remember at that time, Brampton didn't start till Highway 10. Like if you came down Beauvert,
Hmm.
it was
Oh
all
my
farms
gosh.
until Highway 10. And then, yeah, it was 1 lane each way. And it was a lot different. Now we've got Mount Pleasant, and we've got,
Yeah.
it's just boomed. And it's funny. I talk to other realtors who say, I've been in this area for 7, 8 years and I've seen it grow. I'm like, buddy, I've been here 31 years and I've seen it grow. So yeah, it's good.
Mhm.
It's good for the region. It's good. It's good to see that growth. It's Halton region now is
Mhm.
growing.
Yep.
The developments in Georgetown that are coming up, and it's good to see.
That's
It's good to
awesome.
see these communities being built, and families coming together.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Now, you mentioned that you start off in the food industry, right? I'd love for you to just talk more about that. Like, how was that? Where did you, I guess, like start off? You don't have to mention specific names, but like, being a cook, or what was your favorite dishes to cook and stuff like that. I'd love to get to know, the whole food industry before transitioning into real estate.
Yeah. So with the food industry, r- the most I ever cooked was pizzas when I worked at pizza places. I don't think anyone ever trusted me to actually cook at their restaurant. If it was, I do love cooking when I'm at home. It's, I think I make great food, and my wife and my daughters say it as well. And I think they just say it to make me feel better. But, um, yeah, you know what? It was an industry that I learned a lot,
Mm,
and it gave me the thick skin that I have now. And it's and that's where I learned at an early age that you need to create that customer for life.
mm,
There's lots of competition out there. There's a
absolutely.
lot of choices customers have. Um, and why is it that they're going to come to you?
Mm,
What is it that you give that the others don't give? So that was my mantra, moving forward. And when I got into management in the food industry, that's one thing I taught to all my staff. Why is it that staff or our clients will come to us?
mm-hmm.
There's competition down the road. There's other branches.
Yep.
What makes them come to our location?
Mm-hmm.
And it's getting to know your client, getting to know what it is that they want,
Yep.
getting to know what makes them click. And I think once you build that bond and that relationship with your clients,
Mhm.
it goes a long way of building that customer for life, which is a perfect transition into real estate because, this is a long-term business and we have to create the client for life and
Absolutely.
gaining their trust and gaining their support. Um, it is hard work.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is, it's hard to get to know someone because a lot of folks are closed off and they don't like giving out their personal information.
Hmm.
But once they feel comfortable, then it feels really good.
Absolutely. Again, creating that safe space where and creating that trust, right? Because I know, when I first got into it, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Like, okay, I called you for this property and you're asking me a whole bunch of questions. I
Yep.
don't know you.
Yep.
But then once you're able to, share with them that, hey, we're on the same team. I'm not here to get into your business like that. I'm here just to really create a space where I now know how to best serve you. And once you create that safe space and they're able to then share, things start to click and move on quickly. So I definitely understand how important customer service really is. Now, you mentioned that your dad was in real estate as well, and he done some properties, whatever the case may be. But I'm curious to know, like, was real estate was always a passion of yours, and if so, why didn't you get into it earlier?
So remember we are talking about failures earlier. So
Mm,
this is where it comes in. So my dad, his involvement in real estate was once his business started going, he started becoming successful just doing property management. So
mm,
he was buying properties and selling them for his own benefit.
mhm.
Back in the day, back in I think it was 90. Ooh, I'm going to say 98 or 99. I did write the real estate exam at that time.
I was 4.
Yeah. Thanks for making me feel old. So I told you earlier, you're a lot younger than I am. And you said, no, you made me feel better. Now, but no, at that time it was different. You know what? It was one test. It was an open book. You had this little scientific calculator you took with you.
Hmm.
It was I can't remember what you call it, where you pencil.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
circle.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then they put it through. And you know what? I failed by 1%.
Oh my god.
It was you needed a 75. I got a 74. Being young, I was like, it's only 1%, and I walked away. I was like, they don't need me, I don't need them. But again, I had other opportunities on the table, right?
Mm,
So I wish I had gotten into it at that time. I wish I had reattempted.
mhm.
Again, I wish I knew then what I know now,
Oh,
but
yeah.
one of those things. But hey, you know what? Better late than never. I'm 45 now, and I've still got another 45 years to go. So
Absolutely.
why not start now?
Yes, I
Right?
love it. I love it. Now, I need to bring this up because I hear other realtors mention that, back in the day, it was literally an open book test. Humber, whoever, like, what happened? Like, oh my gosh. And I know exactly how you felt when it comes to failing. I got a 74 and the passing, but Humber was 75.
Yeah.
That broke my spirit. And I was hurt. I was really hurt. And I was like, I don't want to do this anymore. But for some reason, again, I have to give a big shout out to my wife because she knew how passionate I was with real estate, and she just was like, "No, there's no such thing as quitting. You're gonna have to pay that extra money,
Yeah.
whatever you need to do, study." And I had a tutor. Shout out to Tori, who helped me out tremendously, and those were like the supporting system that I had. And so again, um, being able to pass was a great feeling, and I'm happy that I did not quit at that time. Now, transitioning now, I would love to know, um, just understanding, like, because you were in the food industry, right? So I didn't tell you this, but I was in the food industry as well.
Oh, wow.
I actually went to Humber College for culinary arts.
And when were you going to tell me this?
Right now.
You're recording me and now you tell me?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I actually went to school for culinary arts. And as when you're baking, whatever the case may be, like when you're baking a bread, there's one component that helps bread grow, which
Yep.
is yeast. So I want to know, like, going through the fact that you feel that one mark, and then you went on doing your life. Is there a specific component, that yeast, that actually made you decide like, okay, you know what? I don't care anymore. Because of this, I have to. I have to get my real estate license.
You know what, you actually touched on it. I think having that support in-house, it goes a long way.
Mm,
You need to have, they say behind every successful man is a woman.
absolutely.
And I think that speaks volumes. And another secret of mine, you're going to pull out all my secrets here. Even during Humber, yeah, you know that, I'm telling you, that course too, I found it absolutely, and I actually failed it about 3 times.
Yeah.
But you know what it was? It was my wife's support. Big shout out to Charu. You know what? It was her support and
Mm,
her, you know what? You can do it. You know what? I trust in you and I believe in you is what kept me going. And back in the day, if that support was there, I think, and it speaks volumes, right? And
mhm,
I think having that support is very important in your life, especially during failures. It's great to be there, and especially in successes as well,
mhm,
right? Sharing that success with someone. So that's why I got in this business, and that's why I'm determined to be successful is
mhm.
for her,
Absolutely.
right? And I want to show her that all of her support and dedication to me
Yeah,
will pay off in the end.
absolutely. Now you mentioned course two. Course two, by the grace. I don't know how I passed it the first attempt. I think I got 75 on the dot or a 76.
Wow,
But oh my, it was unnecessarily long.
it was.
It was out of control. But you know what? They have their own system and doing what they're doing, so I can't complain. I'm just happy that we both passed. So
Yeah.
congratulations. So now I want to talk about the shift, because you're coming from a completely different industry, and I'm curious to know how you were able to adapt. A couple episodes ago, I had my wife on, and we talked about the embracing evolution. And I'm curious to know, like, how did you, or how do you, or how have you gotten family members, friends, ex co-workers to accept your new career? Because I know, again, you mentioned earlier that 25 years in the food industry, and then now they see your social media, and bless you, and now that you are a realtor, they're like, oh, okay, like how did you get people to accept?
It's funny. I've actually had a lot of support from my family and friends.
Oh, that's beautiful.
A lot of them have said, you know what, this is something that it was funny actually. I was at a wedding in the summertime and I ran into someone, an old colleague of mine,
Mm,
and she's a wedding planner now. And it's funny. She had talked to me. She said, "Oh, are you still in the food industry?" And
mhm,
and I said, "Yeah." And I said, "But I'm actually in Humber. I'm working towards my realtor license."
yeah.
And she said something to me at that time that really stuck. And I think, she had said to me, she goes, "You know what? I always thought that real estate really suits you, and that's
Mm,
something that you should, have gone into." Having her say that, I think and like I said, I hadn't seen her in about 5 or 6 years,
yeah.
and it was funny that she remembered me. But just those words that she said were, and even now, once I've got my license, a lot of my friends have said the same thing, that you know what, this really suits your role, and this
Mm,
is. I think they see that I'm more comfortable in here, and
yeah.
it's I'm an entrepreneur on my own now, instead of working for, I worked for some great companies out there, and I'm not going to bash, or
Mhm,
I absolutely loved my time. But I think I enjoy my time more now, where I know I'm working for myself,
mm,
and it's I've just always been that business mindset.
yeah.
Even when I was working for these places, I always worked as if it was my own business.
Mhm.
So I think transitioning over was really easy for me.
That's
And so my friends and family have really been supportive, and just having them say that they think I'm more comfortable now just makes me feel that much better, that
that,
I
that
made
is
the right decision.
absolutely just like having that conversation with her kind of validated, okay, you know what, I am in the right space, I picked the right thing. And I love that you had that support, because I know for some, that's not always the case. It's like, okay, you were just like, I was listening to a call that my wife was on, and the individual was like, oh, people know me from back then, the person who played, sports and smoked backwards to the
Yeah.
face,
Yep.
and now they're doing what they're doing in this industry, and people looked at them like, what? Like, what are you? Who are you?
Yeah.
I'm sure that people who are watching this now are probably saying the same thing with me. Not the backwoods part, but someone who like was a dreamer. Like, I was always entrepreneurial, but I never really had the proper guidance. And even when I will seek guidance, I had to pivot. I did a lot of pivoting, just really trying to grow and try to learn. But some people may look at me like, okay, this guy, he's someone who has a whole bunch of aspirations and dreams, but he doesn't want to accomplish anything. So some people may look at me like, okay, he's not serious.
Mhm.
But now that I've I'm now into the industry, I've committed that time, I'm now where I want to be. Some people are probably like, nah, I don't know, and there's some people who are supportive. But yeah, I'm happy that you were able to have that support system with friends, family, and things of that nature. But you said that you're always entrepreneurial, and now you feel a lot more gratifying with just working for yourself. Can you touch on the importance of working for yourself? Like, what is it about being an entrepreneur that gets you up every day?
Getting up every day, I mean, it makes me feel that, the work that I'm out there doing, it's benefiting a lot of people. And
Mm,
I can make my own rules, and I can really
mm,
go out there, and I'm not limited to where, again, I work for some great companies out there. But they had a schedule that I had to follow, right?
mm,
And it's like, okay, we need you to be here, we need you to be here, we need you to be here. And so, it was, even at that time I was busy.
yeah.
Even when I got home, I was always on my phone. But
Mhm.
now I feel that when I'm on my phone, it's, the benefits are gonna, I'll reap the benefits now,
Yeah.
right? As to where, putting in the long hours, the long days,
Mhm.
I was, someone else was reaping the benefits,
Mm,
right? Where the profits are going somewhere else, and I had that yearly paycheck.
mhm.
Now I know that, what, anything I do,
Yeah.
it's for me and my family,
Mm,
right? And going back on touching up on how you were saying about how some people, the negativity is, it's always going to be there,
yeah.
right? And and I've always felt that, it's, I stay away from negative people.
Yeah.
And it's, and I think that's one thing that's really helped me out. um yeah, you know what, there's people out there, they're like, oh my God, there's so many realtors, and especially in Ontario, and what are you going to do? And, but you know what? I'm me. You're you.
Absolutely.
I don't care about those other 75,000 realtors. You know what? I'm me, and I've got my own personality. And so,
Mhm.
I think it's best to stop listening to those negatives.
Yeah, I've learned to turn away from the negative and just really speak to people like yourself. And people who are just there to uplift, because again, the negativity is draining.
It is.
It's just draining, and it just plays too much in your mind. And I just feel like people who are just negative and always have something negative to say about you, maybe there's something that they're reflecting on themselves. And like my wife said on her episode, like, bully people.
Yep.
So
Yep.
you just never know.
I
But
remember a long time ago, I read something about, and you know what, I've seen it true, I've seen that it is true. And,
mhm,
it said that we're like magnets,
yep.
right? And if we're thinking negative, and we're only listening to what the negativity is around us,
Mhm,
you're attracting negativity.
absolutely.
But if you're positive and you're reading positive things, listening to positive music, the magnets in within us start attracting the positivity. And then all of a
Mhm,
sudden, it's funny, when we're happy, only good things happen to
yeah.
us, because it's that positivity that we're,
Like an aura.
and then it's when you were down, and they say, well, bad things happen in three, because you're already in that negative mood, and you're
Yeah.
attracting negativity. And so that's one thing that, I've really kept with myself, is, that one, I can't remember where I read it, but I'm not a big reader, but that, those couple lines really stuck with me.
I'm not a big reader myself, but I found myself getting into more books because, again, it's just, again, feeding yourself with positive, you know, thinking and the way to position yourself. Like Failing Forward, it was a book that I read, and it's like, wow, it speaks so much volumes to me, because again, like I said, I had to pivot so much, and I'm just trying to figure out. I'll say that age, let's say 17 to probably 24, I don't know who I was. I'm
Yep.
still trying to figure out things, and I'm pivoting, I'm trying to learn. But Failing Forward kind of allowed me to understand, like, what, although those past things I was trying to do did not equate to certain things that I wanted, it still built something within me. Right now, I can say I'm a self-published author with a children's book, right? I'm able to say I've wrote 2 children's books, right? That I know some people cannot, say. But I want to come back to you and say, like, the transition now, because 25 years of structure, you need to be here at this time, you need to be here at this time, and things of that nature. Like, how is that transition to you now, knowing that, okay, I woke up at 9 o'clock this morning and I can do what I want? How was
Now,
that?
I mean, for me, it's still getting up early in the morning.
Mm.
I've always been an early riser.
Ah.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm up early in the morning. I'm on my laptop, organizing my day,
Oh.
seeing what needs to be done. And it was funny. Yesterday, my day started at 6 o'clock. I was
Mm.
here at the office, and I was literally on my phone and computer until 10 p.m. last night.
Wow.
But I know that all the work that I'm putting in, it's
And reap benefits.
exactly
Absolutely.
right. So and as we touched on earlier, is that organization. That's why I think getting up in the morning, getting yourself organized for the day
Mm.
speaks volumes. And once you've got that structured day, things still happen, right? I mean, I
Absolutely.
was thrown about 3 or 4 curveballs yesterday, but it's being able to deal with them.
Yeah.
And again, it's that family support, right? My wife was there. She knew, just a couple of times for her, and I kept apologizing. I'm sorry that I'm busy. And
Yeah.
she's like, no, you know what? It's good.
That's
Right.
beautiful.
So, yeah.
I love that. I see what you have is so like inspiring to know that, again, your whole ecosystem, everything around you is just, perfect marriage. Everything's just moving. But like, do you think that transition can hinder, some people? Because again, like I mentioned, because what you just said kind of really touched on discipline. You have the discipline. I would love to know, like, is that something that you adopted through work, or was that something that you always had and now you're able to implement it? And like, I'm gonna start with that question. I'm gonna start with that question first, and then I probably have another question that I want to trace in, because I'm going off top.
Yeah, no, I mean, my background in the food industry really taught me that, was to get up early in the morning, get yourself organized,
Yeah.
set up your day. And a lot of the CEOs I work for out there, that's where I learned it from, right? Was getting up early in the morning. And it's, yeah, there are some people out there that get up at 9 or 10. They're not the early birds, and you know what, they're still successful. And and I'm not saying that getting up in the morning it's just something I personally like to do.
Yeah.
And it's tough for some people.
Yeah.
It's not easy being an early riser. But it's even getting up at 9 or 10, as long as you find that time in the morning. If you need to be somewhere at 10:15, you're getting up at 10, then you have an issue, right? If you got to be somewhere at 10:15, being up at 9 and getting yourself organized, knowing you have to be there, right? Again, that's, I still find that that's still being organized as well.
I love that. I love that. That's a good tip for people. If you have, somewhere to be, plan out your day from maybe the night before. So you know that, okay, at 7 or 7 something, I wake up, take my shower, do whatever I need to do, and then structure my day so I can attack the rest of my day with all confidence. So now that you're now licensed, I want to talk about the journey ahead. Um, One of the most frequent questions that I've gotten and I've heard on other platforms is like, what is the difference between a sole agent as well as being like joining a team? Because now we're part of the Elite Realtor Group, but like, for people who want to be or get into the industry and become a realtor, I would love to know, like, can you share to them a little bit the difference between a solo agent and versus joining a team?
I think both are equally. I mean, there's a lot of realtors out there that have been successful on their own. And a lot of people are successful on the team. It's, it's, I think with a team, especially being new, it's really important being on that team because we have however many members in our team, and we get, I love being on the WhatsApp group that we have.
Yeah.
You know what, you send out a question and it's you've got different ideas, and that's what I love about this team is, and any team out there, and even in my career as well in the food industry, I think when we worked as a team, it worked a lot better. All the championships out there, all the sports out there that have won, the teams have been organized and they've worked together. And I think it's really important, especially when you're new, being on a team. But I think you create that bond, and it's
camaraderie.
And I think moving forward, it's sort of going to be tough, being on your own, especially when you're used to a team, especially when we've got such a great team here.
Yeah.
Right. And I know if it's, if someone's not happy with their team, then it's different, but I enjoy being on the team. I think that's what's helped me out. And Roger's always there to answer any questions.
Yeah.
You've been there. I've asked you a few questions a couple of times, and a few other members of our team. And so, I really like the team part.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think what really impacts is one, the leader. The leader plays a huge part, because I've come across some teams that essentially dismantled and like completely fell apart because the leader wasn't strong. So again, big shout out to Roger. And also, I do feel like people ask that question of team or solo because they're so focused on the money. Like, oh, what are the splits like? Like, like what are the splits and everything like that? I saw you huff. I saw you about to say something.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that's what's wrong with this industry is a lot of people think that we're just in it for the money, and it's you know what. The little time that I've been in real estate, but the clients out there, and like I said, it's funny. We just closed on a deal last week, and we're talking about it just before we went on the air that, this client told me, he said, I called you, it was a mistake. I wasn't even going to call you. Just those words, and him saying now how comfortable he is with me, and that speaks so much more than a paycheck. And it's I've touched someone, and I've I've made a difference in their life as to where they probably had a negative idea about real estate, and real estate agents, but now I've really changed it around where he was afraid to call me. And he called me by mistake, and I we had some hiccups along the way, and we had some offers in and they were declined, and well, once it finally comes through and they saw the hard work that I put in, and even now, I was talking to him again last night and making sure, and I think that's what I love about this industry is seeing that smile on people's faces.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to explain. And even when I was in the food industry, I loved, and it was funny, every time I sat in an interview, I was always asked the question, how do you handle customer complaints? And my answer was, I love customer complaints. And everyone's eyes were like, what? Is this guy crazy?
I'm looking at you like that. Like, okay.
But you know what? This gave me an opportunity to create that customer for life. We messed up. You know what? But now it's me manning up, calling the customer saying, look, we messed up. I'm sorry. How can we fix it?
That's beautiful.
I want you back in my restaurant. I want you back in my establishment. What will it take for me to get you in there? I'm not giving away the kitchen sink. I'm not giving away the restaurant.
3 pizzas.
But even if it costs, exactly. You know what? If it costs me a couple pizzas, I've created that customer for life now. And that $20, $30 for those 2 pizzas
absolutely
go a long way. And and that's what I'm bringing to the industry as well, that I'm not going to say that I'm perfect. I'm not going to make mistakes.
No, for sure.
But it's how do we correct it?
Absolutely.
Right.
No, I love that. I love that. And again, you said it. It's all about like so much people, when people think of real estate, especially when you see all these amazing shows on Netflix and things of that nature, and they automatically think of money. And again, like I was saying earlier, people with solo and teams, they go, oh, what's my split going to be like, blah, 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 blah. But again, just hearing you speak, it's not about the money. It's about really creating that comfort zone, that trust between you and the client. And you and I both know, like once you close on a deal and someone tells you like, without you, I don't know how I would have done it. You would damn near shed a tear because you're like, wow,
Definitely.
I put someone in a place where they can lay their head at night. There's an opportunity of, let's say, someone who buys. You're gonna be able to create memories in a place, and I play a part in that. And I find that, some people don't really take that into consideration when they see realtors. It's like, it's not just about the money. It's not just about the money. Now, I'm not going to say the money's not important, because obviously you want to be able to provide it for your family as well, obviously. But there's so much more that goes into it. And it's just, that brings you much more joy. And for all the realtors or all the individuals who want to become a realtor, and you're thinking of, splits and you just think about the money, the best way, I heard this at a Robert Herjavec conference, and he said the speaker was like, I'd rather get paid 50% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you guys to take that in, digest it, wait 30 minutes, and allow that to marinate in your spirit. But now, I want to transition again now to, like, now knowing that this industry is so saturated. It's so saturated. Yeah, I think you said what, 75,000?
I think that was the last number. Yeah.
I feel like there's more. Like everyone's aunt, uncle, brother, cousin, sister is a realtor.
Definitely.
Like
Yep.
everyone knows a realtor. But there's more realtors and houses available. So I would love to ask you, like, how do you aim to market yourself and stand out from the crowd?
So, it's getting myself out there, promoting myself, and it's, I'm not afraid. I've got a couple of videos out there as well that, I'm going to be starting up. Again, all of this is new for me. I've never recorded videos and posted them, but it's been different. And I think it's, I think, especially with you and I, we're not small, right? We're bigger gentlemen, and I think we can come off as intimidating sometimes.
A little bit more Parisian.
Yeah. Yeah. But I think, and I'm hoping that with my videos, a lot of folks see that I'm not intimidating. It's like, I've been told I'm a big teddy bear, right? And so it's, hopefully I could get that across and to people, and it's, just setting myself apart from everyone else out there. And a lot of the ads I see out there, and they're all the same, and they're all advertising properties that are for sale. Yeah.
The TikToks.
It's promote myself. And it's I've been here my whole life, and I do have a lot of people that do follow me. But again, I do have a lot of realtors that know me as well. But it's they're all doing an amazing job.
Yeah.
Right. And so now I just need to find, how is it that I set myself apart from everyone else? And that's the learning curve. And that's, trying different things.
And how has that learning curve been? Like, how has that, really finding that niche and finding out different things? Like, has there been anything that you've done that's like, oh, I should have done this better? Or, like, how has that transition? Because again, you have never done this before. So, putting yourself out there, for some may feel awkward. So how has that transition been for you?
It's very awkward. I mean, and I know everyone has the same issue, and everyone I've talked to, and I hate the sound of my own voice. Right. And it was, and I hated calling my cell phone and having to listen, especially if someone leaves a voicemail, and you got to listen to yourself. I'm like, pound. Who is this guy? But, I think that was the most difficult thing, was seeing myself or listening to myself over and over again. Because I mean, when we're recording these videos, it's not always the first take, right? It's making a few mistakes, having to look at those videos. So I think that was the biggest thing, was me getting over my, I think as humans, we're our worst enemy,
Absolutely.
right? And I think that we find flaws in ourselves that other people, and again, it's like I said, it was with my voice and watching myself, and I
Mhm.
think I'm getting used to that. It's at first I was just putting pre-recorded videos that didn't even have me in it,
Yeah.
but again, everyone's doing that. And so
Mhm.
now that's why I thought, you know what, I think I need to be different.
Yeah.
And so I've started recording a couple of videos, and it's going to be a change. It's going to be different, but
Mhm.
I'm starting to like it. It's actually, it's gotten a lot of responses, and
Mhm.
I actually had a few calls the other day where people have seen my videos on Facebook, and they're calling me.
That's
And,
awesome.
so I'm doing something right, I'm hoping.
No, you're definitely doing something right. And again, I've watched, your videos, and I'm like, look at you. I love it. But again, we are our worst enemy. We put so much limitations on ourselves, and we really just feel like, okay, you know what? Maybe I'm like, for me, I have a lot of insecurities as well. Like my voice, like for a bigger guy, my voice is pretty high pitched. I don't have that deep, and just that, I don't know, that commanding presence, so to speak. Yeah,
That Barry White and
yeah,
Shaquille
right,
O'Neal,
right. I want that, like, command the room. But and I just feel like, again, I'm a bigger individual, so some people, without me opening my mouth, like before, getting into real estate as well, I was a courier driver,
Mhm.
and I remember I did a drop off to a person's house. And before I even opened my mouth, she slammed the door in my face. She's like, "Get away from my house! Get away!" And I'm like, this is a package.
A package for you. Yep.
What are you seeing?
Mhm.
And not honestly, that experience really hindered me. I'm like, what do people think of me?
Mhm.
But now, when you reflect and you just really try to, like, get away from the noise, like, you know what? I'm in a space where I'm comfortable in my own skin, and that's the most important thing. Is being comfortable in your own skin.
Definitely.
So, um, time time has been not far spent, but again, I like what has been, the gems that you've been able to drop, and getting the opportunity for people to get to know you a lot more. But in the beginning of every episode, as well as the end of every episode, I say that the DHomer Real Estate Podcast is focused on real estate, personal finance, and self development. To to make it digestible, fun, and relatable to everyone. And I have one last question for you. What advice would you give someone looking to make the jump into real estate but are afraid?
Don't listen to anyone out there. Anyone that's stopping you
Mm.
shouldn't be in your life.
Ooh.
It's, you know what, it's hard work. That Humber course it's going to drain you. But if you have a dream and if you have that drive and motivation, go for it. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? You learn something, and you know what? In the end, if you fail, at least you've learned. We're in in I remember back in the day, if someone wanted to go back to school in their
Mhm.
40s or 50s, and you were looked down upon, and now
Oh,
it's, you know what, I've heard of 70, 80 year olds that
going
are
back
going
to
back to
school.
school. and
Yep.
and you know what, it's us as humans, that's how we've evolved, is by learning
Mm.
new things. And what's the worst that could come out of it? You learn a little bit of real estate, and you learn some new things. And I think that goes a long way. And even though we can Google everything now, and we could get our information, but I think that I think once you get your hands dirty and you really get into
Yeah.
it, you can't really judge it, or really. And so anyone that's trying to get into it, by all means, you know what,
Just jump.
just jump. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that goes with anything out there. Um, don't let your dreams, pass you by, right? Don't listen
Expire.
to,
Yeah.
don't let people tell you that you're not good enough, or you can't do this, or there's already too much competition.
Or you can't pivot.
Yeah. Right. I mean, it's like, you know what, there's hundreds of pizza stores out there, and
Yep.
you've got your pizzas, you've got your Pizza Novas, your Domino's. They're all successful. You know what? Can you imagine if Domino's said, "Oh no, there's another pizza place we're not going to open"?
I'd love to know though.
right?
What's your favorite pizza place?
Oh, don't, no. I work for a couple of these chains I mentioned, and um,
I don't put you on the spot then.
actually, you know what? Sorry, Amit's Pizza, the one I make at home.
Okay. Best? I love
Best.
it. I'm gonna have to try that. Put it to the test.
Yeah. Yep.
I love it. I love it. But again, I great words of encouragement. You said one thing that was like, you know, you don't need them in your life. And like I know we're supposed to end, but it's like, how do you tell so like how do you distance yourself from that negative energy? Like without being disrespectful, or like when you see someone, you know, telling you who they may they may think that they're giving you constructive criticism, but they're just being straight negative to you.
Mhm.
How do you politely shove them over to the side and be like, you know what, I don't want you anymore?
You know what, it's hard to do. I mean,
Mhm.
it's because again, we're so focused on you know, I want to have a great friend circle, and the most friends I have on Facebook, and I've got 4,000 friends on Facebook, and but you know what, it's are they true friends, right? And it's
Mhm.
finding that true friend. That true friend will stand beside you no matter what. It's getting them out of your life. It's hard, but you know what, it's maybe um less communication with that person.
Mhm.
And I mean, you don't want to be, you know, come off as being an ass about it, but
Yeah.
you know, even just politely saying, look, you know what, these are my dreams, and I appreciate your comments and concerns, but I
Mhm.
feel this is something that because I heard Ahmed on the Domer podcast, and he told me to go for my dreams. So yeah, it's tough, and I wish I had a true answer for it.
Mhm.
The way I handle it is, you know what, I just sort of slowly cut off communication with that person, and
Mhm.
yeah.
I hear that. Well, again, everyone, this was the DHomer Real Estate Podcast. But before we end, do you have any socials that you want to, you know, share to the people? And
Yeah, I'm on Facebook there, TikTok,
you have
Instagram.
TikTok too.
I have TikTok.
Look
Yeah,
at
I'm with the times.
you.
Yeah. I just started a Twitter page the other day, and
Okay.
hopefully the next couple of days. Actually, it's funny talking to Roger yesterday, and he encouraged me to get my YouTube channel up. So
Yep.
that'll be coming up soon.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, everyone, thank you again for tuning into the DHomer Real Estate Podcast. You can catch me on all streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts. Wow, I always say Apple Music. I don't know why. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, as well as iHeartRadio. You can watch the visuals on YouTube. You can follow the socials on the DHomer Real Estate Podcast on Instagram. You can also follow my social media at DHomer Real Estate on Instagram, as well as TikTok. Again, I want to thank you
You're on
guys.
TikTok?
Yeah, I'm on TikTok too. But yeah, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys were able to gain so much knowledge from Amit. And again, reach out to him if you're looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest. Feel free to give him a call. You have a number that you want to get people to call?
Yeah. So actually, my handles that I go by is RADHIR Real Estate, RADR. And my phone number is 647-762-3358.
Awesome. All right. Thank you for tuning in. Take care.